All right, here we go. How you doing, Ryan?
Doing good, buddy. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I
Just
need a haircut.
fantastic.
Look at
Good to
this
see you
lock I
back.
got going.
Do you have yeah, I probably should have told you ahead of time I was gonna leave you on camera tonight. I
I
hope
would have
you got
just
on your,
worn
your cleanest dirty shirt there.
that.
That's all good. So how was Legoland, man? Is that where you were?
Yeah, we went down to Florida last weekend and spent some time down at Legoland and went to Disney's Hollywood Studios for a day too.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Legoland's pretty interesting. I mean, anybody out there that has kids, if they're over about 10, it's not really a good place for them. I think they've outgrown that park at that point. But I mean, it was all right. wasn't too bad. Um, we the Legos that have been outside for 10 years because that park is now 10 years old.
Hmm.
You can tell they've been outside for 10 years.
Yeah. I bet you can.
Yeah,
All
it's pretty
right.
crazy.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
yes, Mark Lindsay, Wolfman Jack, and somebody else said that to me not too long ago, and yes, I completely agree. I looked up some pictures of Wolfman Jack, and especially when my hair is in full fluff mode, yeah, I'm a dead ringer for him.
yeah, I think it works. I think it works.
There's worse things to be called.
Oh yeah, yeah,
My ex-wife probably called me most of them.
yeah. All righty. Well, welcome everybody to the Hobby CNC with Dave show. And I hope y'all enjoyed tonight's show. It's going to be a discussion, I guess. I'm going to need a lot of audience participation for tonight's show, and I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. But before we get started, before I get wound up here very much, I believe I saw Bob CNC in the chat there, and I'm assuming that's Bob Wood. But I wanted to give him a big shout out because, as I mentioned last week, he was on the show. Him and Ryan from Wooden Creations, they were on the show 2 weeks ago, and Bob was kind enough to send me a Revolution rotary. And I finished putting it together, and I shot just a little video. I'll show it here. I'm just kind of dry running it in a little bit, but I'm going to be making some chips with that here in the next day or two. I've actually run into some stuff where I'm having to run my other machines for some orders, so I haven't really cut anything with this yet. But I just trying to get used to, because it's an Uno Arduino type machine, and I'm an old Mach 3 guy, so I'm trying to get the hang of that and make sure I'm not getting inches when I should be in metric and stuff like that. But anyway, going to try to run something with it probably, I don't know, beginning of this week sometime. Thought I might try to do a live from out there in the shop and uh, see what I can make with that thing. So if you anybody out there has a good suggestion for my first project on the Bob CNC Revolution, let me know. Put it in the chat, and I'll see if I can find a good Thingiverse file and uh, get that thing going. So anyway, thanks again, Bob, for that. I really appreciate it, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun. I can already tell. And,
Yeah.
and by the way, for talking about the Bob CNC stuff, if you ever get ready to put one of those things together, make sure you have one of these. I've had this one for years. This is a little one of those things you stick in your pocket. It's got the little pin clip on it, and then it retracts, and then it's got the little magnet on the end. I'm not saying you couldn't put one of those together without it, but holy cow, there are so many little M4 nuts and stuff on that thing, and this thing was a lifesaver. So much so that if you need one of these, I've got a link down below in the description for one of these. But yeah, this thing was a lifesaver. I'm so glad I had one. But anyhow, let's see what else I got that I need to talk about. I wanted to give a big thank you to everybody that has used that Buy Me a Coffee to make a donation to the channel. I really appreciate it. That'll help me keep the lights on and the power going and all this stuff. Uh, and I feel kind of bad because I don't know why, but if you do a what is it called? I'm having a brain fart here. Super chat. That's what I was trying to think of. If you do a super chat, which I haven't, nobody's done any of those, but if you do one of those, it shows up through StreamYard. So I know within a few seconds after you've done it, and I can acknowledge it and stuff like that. But with the Buy Me a Coffee thing, I don't know if there's a way to get it through. I think you have to use like a third party Stream Elements or something. And I'm not that technical savvy with that stuff to get that going. But anyway, I don't find out until email. And usually it's after I've already signed off the show. So I just wanted to thank all of you who have used that donation link to buy me a coffee. And like I said, I certainly appreciate it. It really helps out keep things going. So thank you all. In fact, I even had a little thing here and I didn't hit it. So I was going to hit this right here. Thank you. StreamYard's getting all fancy and stuff here. I tell you, it's almost where I have trouble working it now. But anyway, let's see. Let's go ahead and get started on the topic that everybody's here for, I guess. I've got some notes here because a lot of you, some of this stuff may sound familiar or even look familiar. But I wrote this up about, well, I can tell you when because I got the date off of it. I posted on Facebook in my Gatton CNC Facebook group on December 16th, 2017. So a little over 4 years ago. I wrote this up, and this was kind of in response to not just the way people would do in my group, but the way I would see people in the other CNC groups that I'm a member of. And it would kind of go something like this. And I'm just going to kind of read what I had on there. The thing that I put, and it's all pinned at the top of my Gatton CNC Facebook page, and it's also pinned, or not pinned, but it's also on the DaveGatton.com website. But it's just a little article thing I wrote, and it's called Things to Think About When Choosing Your First CNC Router. And it goes kind of like this. You often see people, and in fact, I looked today, there was 2 different groups, and I saw one in each one of those groups. and I'm like, here we go. Here it's all starting again. But anyway, it says, I often see people post a question in the forum in Facebook groups that goes something like this. I'm looking to get into CNC routing, and I'm a total newbie. So what machine should I buy? And that's what they post. They've applied to be a member in the group, and they've been approved, and right off the rip, that's the first question they ask. So as I go on here, it says, well, of course, right away, they face a barrage of answers from people that, although their intentions may be good, they really just give the newbie a bad case of confusion. And I know, I bet everyone out there watching is probably shaking their head going, yeah, I've seen that in the different groups. That's the way they do. But anyway, they're going to respond to that person's question, and they're going to say, well, I have one of, insert the blank, the name of the machine right there, whatever it might be. And I love it. So you should get one of these too, you know. And the individual that's asking for that machine advice should really take a minute and just take a minute before making or before asking all these people on Facebook. I mean, I know there's some smart people on Facebook, but you should really just ask yourself a few simple questions first. And I put together, I've actually got more than three. There's really what I call the top three things that you really need to consider. And I think I think I've got a total of about, how many of these things did I come up with? I think about 9 things that might be factors in choosing a machine. But really, the first three are the meat and potatoes right here. But the first one is, you should ask yourself, all right, what am I going to do with this thing? What am I going to make with it? Is it something big? Am I going to make furniture out of plywood, or, am I going to make little camping signs, or, why am I wanting a CNC? And in some cases, if you're brand new, you may not really know what you're going to do. But if you do know, about what you're going to be making, or, maybe it's something you've been making in your shop, doing it by hand, cutting it on a scroll saw, or, who knows what. And now you're just trying to automate the process. Well, if you got an idea, then that right there would kind of tell you what machines that some of those guys are throwing in the comments there, because they throw everything from the dirt cheap, what is it called? Alibaba? What is that thing? Is it Alibaba? Okay, yeah. That and Amazon, and all those really cheap ones, all the way up to $50,000 machines. But anyway, so if you already know what, or at least have an idea of what you want to make with it, that would kind of eliminate a bunch of things right off the bat. Either this one's going to be too small, or this one's going to be way too big. I don't need that. So that right there is the number one question I think every new person, and I don't know how many of them we have out there. I messed up and forgot to say that, because I was wanting to see, to get a feel for the group here. How many people, if you're brand new, and when I say brand new, you don't even have a CNC yet, please put new in the chat. Just put new, just that one word, and that'll give us an idea what the crowd is. Because I can look at some of the names and I go, yeah, he's got one. I know a lot of people have them, and maybe y'all do. I don't know, but anyway, so that right there, I think, is the number one question, because that, like I said, if you got an idea about that, that's going to eliminate some machines right off the go here. Okay, here's the second one, and this one's really important too. How much shop space can you commit to a CNC router?
I think that one's massively important.
I think so. Like I said, these first three, some of them are almost, you could put a different one at number one or whatever, but these first three will tell you everything you need to know about how to eliminate your choices.
Yeah.
For a CNC.
Yeah, I see a lot of new people that are like, I need a 4x8 foot machine, and I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. It's like, what? Whoa.
Yeah. Well, or if you have a 1-car garage, or maybe even a 2-car garage, I can tell you right now, you're probably not going to want a 4x8 or something really big, because I can just, let me know how that works out when you go to your wife and say, honey, you're not going to be able to park the car in the garage anymore. I'm using that, let me know how that works.
Yeah, because the space that you need for the machine isn't even all the space that you need, because you need to be able to go around the sides.
Exactly. You can't just go to somebody's website and go, well, let's look at the specs of the machine. Oh, here's the footprint. Oh, yeah, it'll fit right there.
Yeah.
Well, you need a lot more working area now. Ideally, you either need to be able to get all the way around the thing, or if you have it up in a corner, maybe have it on something that's on casters where you can run it that way. But if you need to get behind there to perform some maintenance or what have you, in the back, where it's shoved in a corner, you can pull it out a little bit and get back there.
Yeah.
Uh,
You got to get on there. You got to put clamping down, your material, all that stuff. So generally speaking, you do need to get to at least three sides of that thing all the time.
yeah. So between the first two we've looked at now, what are you going to make with it, and how much space can you afford to use to put this thing? Those two things right there should also eliminate a lot of choices. That one's way too big, or no, that's too little. I got a little more room for a little bigger one. All right, so that's the top two. Now, here is the number three, and this is absolutely a biggie. And that's, what's your budget? And I don't mean just the machine. I'm talking the total realistic budget. Because you've got the machine, you're going to have shipping. If you're in Canada or UK or somewhere, you're probably going to have some kind of duty, taxes, or something. There's a lot of things to consider right there. If you live out in the boonies and you're getting a big, heavy machine, they're going to have a lift gate or something. Usually that costs a little extra. So you really have to throw everything at it when you're thinking about your budget. And see, that's what really drives me nuts when I see these people ask that question. And I'm thinking, well, first of all, go do a little research on your own. You're asking this question, but you're not giving any details. You haven't said, well, here's what I want to make, and here's how much room I have, and my budget's this much. Mm-hmm. They just like, I'm new. What kind of machine should I get? And then you get all these people throwing all these different machines out there that, you're just wasting that person's time, I think. But I see it every day. Like I said, I saw it twice today in different groups. So there's the top three. Now we've got, like I said, I've got, I think, a total of 9 of them. Just some other things that would factor in to your decision about a machine. And it's, let's take a look at what I put in here. Like I said, these are really in no particular order, but for number 4, I put, do you want a turnkey setup, or are you pretty handy? Could you put together some kind of a kit? How much of it do you want to put in? Because some of them, just for example, the Onefinity, that thing, there's hardly anything to put in that together. It looks like from what the videos I've watched, those guys have that thing running in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you take something like an Avid, like I bought, and, you're talking, well, I didn't work solid, but, off and on, it probably took me a week to, get the leg frame and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't mind it because I enjoy that kind of stuff, but you might not. So, if you don't like putting one together and you want a turnkey unit, then all those people that are suggesting Avid or all these other ones that have, a lot of parts to them and stuff, they're just wasting your time telling you that. But it's because you didn't give them enough information at the start. Okay. Number 5. Another thing that might be important to you is tech support and or some training. I don't know. I guess there are places that do some training. I don't know off the top of my head because I've never had to do any of that. But that's something that may really influence your decision on one machine over another. Another one I have here is the design software. We're talking about the budget. Well, is that, does this machine come with everything ready to go, or you got some kind of design software and the controller's ready to go, where you can be making something as soon as you get it running, or you're going to have to purchase something else. And if that's the case, then you got to figure that in your budget as well.
Yeah, there's so many different design software out there.
Yeah.
Paid, and what do you want to do? I mean, for like on my machine for the past 4 years now, I think it is how long I've had that thing. I've been using Easel, which is free. It's crap, but it did what I needed it to do. I wasn't doing any kind of 3D stuff, carving and all that, and I could deal with the nuances, we'll say, of Easel.
Yeah, and
for being free, but they're and as you go, you can grow to do other stuff too.
And I don't think that's just me talking. I don't think there's anything wrong with using Easel if you're that brand new guy that knows nothing about CNC. That's enough to get you going to make something, because you gotta crawl before you walk.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really simple. So and if it does what you need it to do, then hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
Their
I mean, you got plenty of time. It's not like they're going to sell out a VCar Pro or something.
Right.
So you can get that anytime. So that's something else that a newbie might want to consider, is saying, hey, let me just try the free stuff just to get going, so I can learn how this thing works. And again, I'm talking to the person who can't even spell CNC, much less run one. All right, here's another thing that I know this would probably influence my decision a little bit, but it may or may not somebody else. But is the controller proprietary or something else that a lot of people are using? And when I say something that a lot of people are using, that could be something like Mach 3, Mach 4, UCCNC. What's the other one? The Universal G Code Sender. There's a bunch of those different G Code senders and stuff. But there's enough of those things out there that you get a machine that uses something like that, you're not going to be in the dark, because there's always going to be somebody asking, either in a forum or a Facebook group or something like that, to ask about that. But that's I'm not a big fan of the ones that have the proprietary type software like you got. It only works with ours. I'm not a big fan, but that's just me.
Yeah, there's some of them that have to be connected to the internet to even function at all, too, aren't there?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like that.
No, I don't. I mean, some guys wouldn't mind it, I guess, because some guys have their machines on Wi-Fi and checking their Facebook status while they're running and all that stuff too. That's not me. I don't do that. But all right, let's see. Number 8, machine add-ons. Now, this may not sound like much, but it's stuff that's important, because you get a brand new machine, you get it set up, you got your free easel or whatever, and you're getting ready to run a program. First thing you're going to notice is, holy cow, these things make a mess. So what does it come with? Does it have a dust shoe that's made for it, or do they have one available, or or do you want to make one yourself? I made one myself for my Avid. It doesn't look like much, but it's very efficient. So, and also, do you already have dust collection in your shop? And if you don't, like I said, if this is your first CNC and you don't have at least a shop vac or something, then you're going to need to pick one of those up too. So, all right. And then lastly here, and I'm sure if we go through the comments over in the chat, I'm sure we'll probably find some that aren't even on my little list here. But number 9, I said, after you've narrowed down your list of CNCs, after you've narrowed it down, make sure you are comparing apples to apples and not apples to oranges. And that just means if I was in the market for a CNC and I was brand new, didn't know anything, I think I would. Well, first of all, I'd follow Dave's advice and pay attention to these things here that I'm going over tonight. But I'd try to say, okay, this is kind of what I did when I built my first one. Uh, I had an idea for something I wanted to make, and I didn't want to use hand stuff. I wanted to make it automated because I already, had worked with machinery and stuff. I already knew how to program CNC, so I wanted to do that.
Now,
And
I got a question for you.
sure.
When you made that replicator thing that you have the one video on,
Mm-hmm.
did you already have your sidewinders then? Yeah, I think you
Yeah, yeah, I did. I'm not really even sure why I made that because
did.
it was cool, and I've told the story before. I saw that I saw pictures of it. I Googled it or something, and some guy on Lumberjocks had made that. And I really liked the way that looked, and I ended up joining Lumberjocks just so that I could message the guy. And I said, hey, and I don't even remember what the guy's name was. I want to say it was Jim something, but I don't remember. But anyway, I said, hey, I really like, and he had like a whole bunch of pictures, probably about 10 pictures of it on that site. And I said, I really like that. Do you have plans for that? And he says, no, I don't have plans. I just kind of wing it. So I asked him, I said, well, do you care if I draw it up? I said, no, I'm not asking you to give me any dimensions or anything. I said, I can just look at the pictures and draw it up to the size I want, but I want to make it that style or that design. He said, oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. So I did it and did that. It's a 2-part video, but that first part video has got over 1 million views. It's my most popular video. And the funny thing is I don't even have that thing anymore. I ended up throwing it in the fire pit because I never used it. It sat around in my garage for years. I kept moving it from place to place. And finally one day I was cleaning out some, skeletons or whatever, getting ready to take them to the fire pit. And I'm like, I'm just going to throw that on there too because I won't ever use it. But
it would have been funny if you would have hooked it up to you, like the router that you're moving around by hand. You hook that up to your CNC, so the CNC would actually be controlling it like several feet away.
Yeah.
It would make no sense whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. All right. So here's what I would do. Hopefully, if you looked at these little points I've made here, especially the top 3, and you go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I really need to figure out what I'm going to do. That'll kind of help me decide how big a one I need. And then the second one, obviously, is the space. Do I have room for that one? And you got to remember, most machines are where you can slide stuff through the thing. So there's always tiling if you just do an occasional big item and not something every day. Now, if you're making, furniture out of plywood or something and you run, you run plywood every day, then yeah, you probably want to get a 4x8 or 5x10 or whatever, if you got the room and the money for it. But anyway, so those first 2 things will help you narrow it down. And then of course the budget is the end all right there. You gotta make sure that once you've kind of got a ballpark of what machine you're looking at, or 2 or 3, 4 machines, whatever, and they all fit in your budget. What I would do is I would take a piece of paper and across the top I would write this machine 1, machine 2, or whatever they are, Acme, or I'm just making, that sound like Wile E. Coyote now, making up Acme CNC routers. But anyway, I would put those across the top, and then down below on the side, I would put all the things that are important to me in a CNC router, whether it be tech support, training, the software that comes with it, everything. What kind of drive it is? Maybe you don't like the belt drive or the screw drive or the rack and pinion drive. That's another thing. I didn't even think of that until just now. That you know, so I would just put those machines across the top, put all the things that are important to you on the other side, and then score each machine. Like say, okay, well, out of a one out of 10, with 10 being really important and one being not so much. Just put a number in there and then add them up in your columns and see which machine scored the highest. And that's probably, you know, you've pretty much figured out what's the best machine for you. If you're being honest with yourself, some people, I hate to say it, but so many people fall into that bigger is better thing. And while I'm on here griping, another pet peeve of mine is, and I see this a lot too. And I know as soon as I say it, people are going to go, "Oh yeah, I see people say that." But there'll always be some wise guy that goes, "You should buy your second machine first." And I'm thinking that don't make any sense. Figure out the right machine for you right now, because they're not going to quit selling them. You can always get another one, or you know, trade
If they
up.
quit selling them, you probably didn't want it to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know why people. I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure all those people that make those comments mean well. They're trying to help, but I just cringe when I see one of those comments, especially when it's just, I'm brand new. I want a machine. What should I get? No, nothing about what my budget is, what I'm going to be making, or all this kind of stuff. Because all those things are just so important to be able to pick out a machine.
The one thing I was thinking about too on that is the expandability, or I guess modability of the CNC too. Like, say you go for something that's smaller because you think that that's going to fit your needs, and then you realize, hey, well, I need something a little bit bigger. How well does the CNC that you have? Can you make it modify it to do the larger items or the smaller items that you end up doing? Like I know, well, like with the Gatton, you can make a new bed, pretty simple. If you have the Bob's CNC, they have I know that they released an extension kit for theirs to make it 2x4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
X carves, you can get an expansion. You can buy different size rails, and everything just transfers over. Um, I think I don't know if the Onefinity does that yet or not. Like if you can just buy a new gantry and make it wider or longer, but the same type of thing there. Like then you don't have to buy a new machine if you decide that you don't have exactly what you need, and you can you know grow with your machine one way or the other.
Yeah. Now, a good example of that is there were a lot of different things that made me buy that Avid. One, I needed something that could run a lot faster, same precision, but run a lot faster. But I didn't have a lot of room in my because some people have said, "Oh, Dave, you spent all that money on that Avid. You could have built 5 Gattons." Yeah, but I only had room for one machine. That was it. I barely had to clear off, put some stuff around back in my storage building to make room for that. But when I got that was something I wanted, something that was faster where I could crank out more products. The other thing I liked was that it came as a kit, and that was important to me because as an old man whose body's getting wore out, I didn't want to have to deal with something real heavy because I don't have anybody around here to help me move something. And my garage floor is all wonky and everything is really bad. But I thought, well, with this Avid, the way they do the 80/20 leg kit, it'll be easy to Of course, they come with these big, long threaded leg levelers anyway. But I even made a couple. My floor is so bad, I even made a couple of little wooden things that the big round cup part or rubber foot would set down in just a little bit so it wouldn't slide off, and then had to jack the front up because there's my floor is that much that much off. I've had a lot of problems with water damage and stuff with my garage floor. Uh,
Cattywampus.
yeah, and the other thing is, and like I said, I'll probably never do this, but with the Avid CNC, I bought the Pro 4848, but it can easily be made into a 4x8 if I ever wanted to. I already know I'll never want to because, for one, I'm not going to work that hard anymore. So I don't, and I'm not going to lift a full sheet of plywood for nothing. It's about all I can do to get them on the little buggy at Home Depot because you can't get any help over there. So yeah, that's kind of what influenced my decision on getting that. But but anyway, like I said, the top the top three are really the ones. And if they did, we have anybody say that they're brand new out there? I haven't been able to look.
Yeah, we had several people that were
Okay,
brand new.
well if you're brand new and you're out there still listening, if I haven't made you mad and you left, do yourself a favor and do those three, at least the top three things that I mentioned. Ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself. What do I want this thing for? Do I really need a big one? Or maybe you can't afford a big one or don't have the budget for a big, you know, figure out between those top three things I mentioned and get yourself 4 or 5 machines picked out that have that meet the criteria. They're a good brand, from a good manufacturer. They're in your price range of what you want to spend. Um, the work area and the footprint will fit the work area will fit for what you want to make, and the footprint will work for what room you have in your shop. So if you do that and narrow it down, here's what you want. If you got to go to Facebook, I'm going to tell you right now, if you haven't figured it out, I am not a fan of Facebook. But if you got to go to Facebook to those groups and ask something, here's what you need to do. You need to say, I'm a newbie. I'm thinking about getting into the CNC hobby or business, whichever you think way it might go. And then you say, I've already done my research and I've already listened to Dave's great advice, and I've narrowed it down to 4 or 5 machines. Who has these machines, and what say you? Pros and cons of specific machines. And that will be a whole lot easier because I'm going to tell you some of those comments. I bet I could go to Facebook right now and pull one up, but I don't want to show anybody's name and stuff. But some of those things, there'll be a thread, there'll be like 80 comments on that thing. And just about every comment is a different machine. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you need to do with a newbie. Give them like 80 choices from $500 to 50,000. Yeah, that'll help them a lot, you know. So anyhow, that's just like I said. I have had this posted on my pin to the top of my Facebook group for 4 years now, a little over 4 years. I've done this same spiel at one of the woodworking shows. I was asked to talk about why they picked me. I don't know, but this is what I talked about. So that kind of like what we're doing here tonight. And then I've probably talked about it on at least 1 or 2 other live streams in years past. But it's just amazing to me because you can see the same thing every day, every day on Facebook. And it's not just with CNC routers. I see it with, like, I got this little, desktop laser thing back there, this Tour or whatever. And you go into the laser groups, you see the same thing in there.
Oh yeah.
And, somebody will say, hey, I'm going to get a laser. What should I get? And you'll have people suggest a $300 Amazon something or other, kind of like what I got. Or you'll have somebody saying, well, you should get an Epilogue, which is, what are those things, 10, 15 grand, something like that? I don't know what they are. So, it's the same thing, only different with the lasers, and probably with 3D printers and all that too. I don't know. But anyway, I hope if there are any new people out there, and like I said, new people that don't have a CNC, I hope that you'll listen to this and go, yeah, that might be a good idea to try to narrow it down a little bit before I ask those ask those folks on Facebook, because it's like I said, and usually, of course, I stay out of the mix because I don't even like to comment on some of the Facebook groups. I try to stay positive and
it's hard enough for you.
See a project photo or something, go, hey man, that's great work right there or whatever. But I stay out of those what machine should I get things. But it's like I said, they're on there every day. I'll probably see one tomorrow as soon as I get up and look on there.
Oh yeah,
one tomorrow. But anyway, that's what I was talking about tonight. Let's check out the comments here, and I'm gonna tell you what, I'm gonna take a quick break right here, and when we come back, then we'll check out the comments. Hey guys and gals, I hope you're enjoying the show, and if so, let me tell you about a few ways you can help support the show, and some of them don't even cost you anything. First off, you can hit the thumbs up button, and if you're not already subscribed, click the subscribe button. Both of those things don't cost a penny and really help the YouTube analytics. Another great way to help support the show is to send me a YouTube super chat. You can do that by clicking on the $sign at the bottom of the live chat window. And finally, and probably the easiest way, is to buy me a coffee. There is a buy me a coffee link down below in the description. And that is just a few easy ways you can help support the show. I really appreciate every single one of you being here watching. So let's get back at it. All right, I'm checking out the starred comments that Ryan has popped open here. Let's see. Mark says, Dave, got to find out where you got the countdown. Yeah, well, I'll hook you up, Mark. I can do that. Let's see what else we got here. I see Bob has added production or hobby. Yeah, that kind of goes up there with that number one, which is what do you plan on doing? Because if you're already making a product without a CNC, then you're probably looking to do at least some kind of light production, I would guess. With I must have left that one highlighted because it keeps wanting to pop back up there. Or did you pop that up there?
No, you did.
Okay.
It was up there.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole bunch of questions yet. Well, overall questions, I guess.
Mark says, tech support is crucial. You need to be able to get help when you have an issue, and you will have an issue sooner or later. Yeah, I'm going to add my little asterisk to that, though. For somebody like me, I don't think it would matter what brand of CNC I got. If I had a problem, I bet you I could figure it out. Now, that's just me, because I built them and put several different kinds of them together, some my design, some other people's design, stuff like that. But I know enough now about the controllers and the way things work. to me, that wouldn't be a big deal, but I'm sure it probably would be to everybody else, especially somebody new. But if it's somebody new that doesn't have a CNC, but maybe they, like I used to do, be around that kind of equipment and know how to program it and all that stuff, it may not be a big deal. Um, and I guess I should say, along with that, the tech support, and I'm sure you probably, maybe you mean this too, Mark, is not just can I call the company and get a hold of somebody, but what kind of, do they have like a forum or a Facebook group? Because that, as everybody knows, I say I have the best tech support team in the world, and it's my Facebook group, because I hardly ever have to answer a question. If somebody asks a question in there, usually by the time I try to do my one finger typing out a reply, there's 5 or 6 other comments helping them out. But my kit is different because some of them, and the same thing happens in the Gatton CNC Facebook group too. Sometimes somebody will post, or they'll shoot a video and they'll go, well, my machine's doing this.
Chris was Corporal. That's my new favorite saying, Mark.
Somehow that doesn't surprise me. Mark, Mark said that. He's trying to say I'm old, I think. But no, what was I saying now? You didn't got me sidetracked here.
Sorry.
Oh, well, it'll come back to me maybe. But let's see, what else we got here? Dean says, what about using a Bosch 1617, I think, with automatic speed control? Recommended or not recommended, and why? Please and thank you. Well, are you talking about just as a normal router for your CNC router for cutting wood and stuff? I mean, they're good routers, I think. And I'm not sure. I think that's the one that's got the 3.5-inch body, so it would fit in most of the mounts that are out there. Because the 3.5 is the old Porter cable, and the 690 and 890 series and all that. I think that one's the same size. I might be wrong. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I am. I see Bob says you can try most of the software before you buy it. Yeah, that's a good point. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and say it because y'all find out tomorrow when I post the thumbnail. But next week's show, that's one of the things I want to talk about. I want to talk about design software. I know there's a lot of different kinds out there, and I've been taking a good look at some of the stuff that's free because, I can get it and kick the tires with it a little bit. Some of it's better than others, but we're going to have a little discussion about that next week. Let's see.
Something else that people can look at when they're if they want like a kit, which I'm assuming most of the people that are watching would rather have a kit than one that's pre-made or whatever. But you can pull up the directions, a lot of the directions online for some of the kits that are out there, and kind of follow along and see if it makes sense when you're like reading through it, because some directions are better than others.
That they are. Well, I've had to do that twice now because with the Avid that I had to put together, I don't even remember how many pages it was, but it was all a PDF file, so I had the laptop out there, scrolling through it to get that. And I did the same thing just recently, putting together the Bob CNC Revolution, which are excellent things. Actually, there was one time, I'll say this since Bob was out there, he'll get a kick out of it. There was actually one time, and I'm looking and I'm going, aha! I found where Bob messed up, because they don't show in the picture. You can't tell which way that hole goes. Does it flip and then when I went to stick it in, I'm like, he's already idiot-proofed it. It only goes one way because of the way he did the tabs. They were a different size. So I thought, dadgummit. Everything's perfect about that thing. But yeah, just a great job on that design. I love it. It just went together so good. Let's see. Another one he's got pinned here. George says, I just have one question. Who keeps a first aid kit near their work area? I'm laughing because I don't know if I even have any band-aids in the house, much less in the shop.
Probably
I'm
would
just,
be a good idea. I mean, you should always
yeah.
realistically in your workshop area, you should always have one.
Well,
Um,
especially with me too, because
or
because of the stuff I'm on,
yeah,
keeping my blood thin. I can, Jack has accidentally scratched me, and man, I bleed like a stuck hog. Um, so because they keep my blood thin, but
I mean, you at least need some oil soaked rags.
yeah, there you go. Or sawdust. Throw some
Yeah,
sawdust on it.
that'll be
Soak
all
up the
right.
blood. Yeah,
Sawdust and
I
duct
do
tape.
have. I do have a fire extinguisher. I have one of those. Uh, in fact, it's on the little workbench thing that the Revolution thing is on. So I do have that. All right, I think that's all the questions you had pinned. Let's go
Yeah.
back and look at some of the because we had a ton of comments, and I hadn't had a chance to look at. Bob says not working too hard if you're not bleeding. All right. Yeah, super glue. Yeah, good old glue. Super glue. Yeah, I don't. I might have a. And you know how it is when you. Well, maybe you don't know how it is because if you got kids, you probably go through band aids. But me just being here by myself, I can buy a box of band aids. They're probably from when I first moved here or something. But let's
They made
see.
they made band-aids back then.
Well, I use duct tape. Okay,
That's all you need.
me and John, we use duct tape. All right.
Electrical tape and a rag. You'd be all right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I see a lot of fire extinguisher stuff. That's definitely for sure. Uh, yeah. Um, all right. Has anybody got any other questions or let's see. Todd wants to know. Avid makes. Oh, maybe that's a question or a comment. I think. Yeah, I think they make a mount for everything. They you go to their website. They got them for all the different diameter spindles. Uh, all the different kind of routers. The what do you call them? Compact routers like a DeWalt 611 and Porter Cable 450 and all those little small ones, and then the bigger ones, full bodied ones, I guess they call them. Let's see. What did we miss? Jerry said, what is he saying here? At least 100 years. Did Edison hook you up for the power on your Sidewinder? See, Jerry's one of the few people that know probably about, because I've probably known Jerry long enough to where he's seen that machine in action. That's the one that started this whole mess, actually. Um, that's little old machine. I used to sell them, and then in 2008 when the economy started taking a dive, I thought, I'll just quit messing with it, quit advertising them, and just started really learning, playing around with one for myself, making my own stuff. And then that's when I got into trouble because you do a YouTube video, and if you just use that machine for one little part of the project, oh, the trolls would hit you bad. Oh, that's not real woodworking, So that's the machine that kind of started it all for me. Let's
Ouch.
see. George says, I was trying to get a measurement. A cast iron vise fell on my foot.
Ouch. And then Thomas Grimm follows it up with, "What do you have in your first aid kit that relates to a vice falling on your foot?"
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's anything in that kit that would do much good for that. Just saying. I don't know.
Sawdust and CA glue.
Yeah, yeah, man,
Oof.
that hurts me
Oof.
just to think about that.
Yeah, it does. My toe still hurts from last year when I had a sheet of plywood fall on it and kind of karate chop my big toe. It still hurts. It's been a year.
Yeah, JR says, see, I was right. He knows what I'm talking about. Sawdust is a great way to clog up a cut. Yeah,
Rub some
that'll
dirt
work.
in it. You'll be all right.
Plus, it's good if you spill something too. You can just throw a little of that down. Or if you drip blood on the floor, whatever.
It's just a way for
All
people.
right. Well, I guess I don't see any more questions unless I'm just missing them. I haven't. I got to scroll way up here though when we first started to see who.
The
Um,
lessons: don't use a cast iron vise to measure CNC parts.
yeah. Let's see if I'm trying to see if anybody was saying yeah. They're okay. There's somebody, Wayne. Um, I hope we didn't scare you off, Wayne. It's a great hobby. Lots of great, and I want to say this too. There is no better time than right now to get into CNC for the first time because there are so many choices. It's try going to Google and just search, well, 3 words, put hobby CNC router and just watch the look at all the stuff that comes in. There's just so many choices and so many good choices too, not junk. It's all good stuff.
John had a question for you about the spindle on your Avid.
What kind of spindle do I have on my Avid? I have there. Uh, if you're on the, well, I think it's CNC router parts. They changed the name from CNC router parts to Avid as far as their machines, but I think the website is still CNC router part. Anyway, you know the one I'm talking about. You go to their website, and if you look where they have the 2.2 kilowatt air cooled plug and play spindle, that's what I got. I started out when I was going to get that. I was, because I'm cheap, I was just going to get the basic mechanical part and I was going to build my own controller and put it my own spindle. In fact, I got a spare spindle, a water cooled. And I was going to do all that. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, nah, I don't want to build the table to set it on. I'll just get their leg kit. So, cha-ching, there's another few $100. And then I thought, well, I don't want to take time to build my own controller. I got to get caught up with the stuff I'm running. So I went ahead and added in the plug and play controller. And then I thought, well, heck, if I'm getting that, I might as well get the plug and play. So I ended up getting the whole shebang. And like I said, it wasn't cheap, but it's a good machine and a fast machine. Um, and I've been really happy with it. And I probably shouldn't say this on a show because I'm supposed to be, the kind of person that helps new people to do the right thing and all this. But when I run my Avid, it's right outside it's in my garage, and then you come in through the door from between the garage and the house, and just probably 10 feet in, there's my recliner, where my TV's on the same wall that separates the garage and the thing. I fire up that Avid and I come in, sit down, and watch YouTube videos because I can hear that Avid. And so I'm not I probably shouldn't tell people I do that because you never should leave it unattended and stuff like that. But I would rather hear it than see it because even if I was out there, I wouldn't be looking at it. I'd be doing something else. I'm not one to stand around and watch it. I've been watching them run for a long, long time. So,
Frank says
but
that they don't list the 2.2 anymore, only a 4 and an 8.
oh, Wow, that's way bigger than what I got.
Yeah, it's pretty beefy.
Yeah,
And then
yeah. The 2.2, I think that's approximately 3 horsepower or something like that. He says, "Are you satisfied with the air-cooled spindle versus water-cooled?" Yes, I am. I have one of each. I have a water-cooled spindle on my Gatton CNC, and I have an air-cooled spindle on the Avid. And I like the air-cooled, even though it's a little bit louder because it's got air blowing through. But I just don't like having to fool with the water bucket and all that. It might, I wished I'd have done it different and got a kind of a closed, you know, radiator system type thing. But I just went cheap and used the bucket. The kit that I bought it came with the little aquarium type pump thing, and that's what I use. And I just hate using that because it seems like it doesn't take any time to get the water all gunky and then it starts clogging it. I have one of those little flow meter things so you can see it spinning, and half time it's not it's not spinning. But the downside to the air cooled though is if you're wanting to cut like some aluminum or something, you can't get it below 8,000 RPM, and that's because since it's air cooled, it needs to go at least that fast to cool it. Otherwise, you risk burning it up. And in fact, it's the way Avid has it in there. The settings you can't. If you try to turn it all the way down, it'll only go to 8,000. It won't go any lower than that. And of course, with a water cooled, you could turn it on, and have it do 30 RPM if you wanted. Ready?
let's see here.
Welcome to the show too, Alan. I don't know that I've seen your name before. I've seen quite a few new names out there that I don't recognize, or maybe I've just forgot. That too. Okay, Bob says the coolers make it a lot better. You should get one. Yeah, I probably should, and I might do that one day.
If you
If
do a
you
lot
do a
of
lot of drilling, water cooled can go slower. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I said, with a water cooled, you know, you got from 0 to 24,000, or what, I think that's what mine goes to. Uh, but with an air cooled, it's 8,000 on the low end up to 24. All right. Any other questions, comments we need to tackle? I hope everybody that watch, especially you brand new people, hope you got something out of this. Like I said, I'm not just saying this just to hear myself talk. I really believe those top three things. If you really ask yourself those questions and be honest with yourself, you'll save yourself a lot of trouble down the road. And don't listen to all those experts on Facebook. They're just telling you that machine because that happens to be the one they have.
It's like a Tesla driver.
Yeah, yeah.
People that drive
Everybody.
Everybody that drives a Tesla, it doesn't matter that the door gaps are all crap and nothing lines up and the things fall apart and everything else like every other car does. But you can't tell a Tesla driver that their car isn't the best thing on the road.
Oh yeah.
We all know it's Volkswagens. Come on now.
All righty. Well, I guess we're going to start wrapping this up. We're just over an hour. Let's see. Double check. Okay, wait a minute. I see a question I missed over here in the pin ones. Harry Vaughn says, have you ever checked out long mill CNC? I have not. Part of the thing I wanted to do with this show is get try to get somebody that's got experience with a lot of different CNC machines and have them come on the show and talk about them and say what they like about them, say what they don't like about them, all that kind of stuff. Because I know there are people that watch this show, just like there's a few tonight, that haven't made that leap yet. They're wanting to know about different machines. So That's whenever I can find somebody. Georgia Bubba says, "Did I have to beef up my Gatton CNC to you?" No, no. It's got an 8,000 shim to get rid of the nod, but I had that in there before I put the spindle on there, and even before I had the spindle, I started out with a Porter Cable 690, and then I bought a Porter Cable. What is that great big one? 7815 or something. It's huge. It's like that big around. I had to make a special router mount for it, and it weighed as much as the spindle. And then when I bought the spindle, of course, it's a lot skinnier, but they're heavy. They're pretty heavy too. But no, I didn't have to beef it up. And I don't know if anybody else because I know a lot of people have spindles on this. All right, let me see. I see. I'm just totally missing these comments here.
No, you're doing good.
Bob says a production. Wait a minute. Where'd it go? Oh, you must have clicked about the same time I did or something.
Trying to get rid of it, and I'm not touching anything anymore.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, we and you were clicking at the same time, I guess. Okay, Bob says production machine is different than a person that uses it once every few weeks. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. All right, I guess we're about done. One other thing I wanted to mention before we get out of here. Tomorrow's Sunday, and you know what that means. No, you thought I was going to say Super Bowl, didn't you? Nah, I don't care about no stinking Super Bowl. We got Mark Lindsay to watch at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. He's going to be talking about vectors, something or other, with using overlapping vectors. That's what it was. I think so. Yeah. Yeah, Mark says 7518. Yeah, I said 7815. Yeah, 7518. That's what it is. The Porter Cable monster thing. Jerry says, I'll run my Gatton like it owes me money and make a few hundred things a week. Yeah. Yeah, you probably you're probably one of them that comes close to having as much mileage on yours as I do mine. Might even have more. I don't know. You do keep that thing cranking. All right. Well, I guess we are going to get out of here. Like I said, check out Mark tomorrow if you're not watching that super thing, whatever it is.
It'll be a lot later than when that Mark's on, so you got plenty of time.
Yeah, because they don't start. They want to make sure you're late for work on Monday. Make the game in late or something.
They need to start playing it on Saturday. Like the Super Bowl should be on Saturdays.
Yeah, I don't. I say yeah. I don't really care. I'm not even sure I'll watch it. Used to you'd watch it for the commercials, but now the way everything is, I don't care much about watching anything.
I didn't see Keith Painter out in the chat this evening, but
oh yeah, you can always tell by his logo.
Fans of the commies.
Yeah.
The Commanders.
Yeah. Of all the names, good gosh almighty.
They even. This is how stupid that franchise is, and I can say this because I grew up as a Redskins fan, not a Commanders fan. I'm a Washington football team fan because it was just absurd that they didn't even have a name. But anyway, they came out with they're like a plaque that had all the years that they won the Super Bowl on. They were all wrong. They had the date from the year that the Super Bowl was played in not the season. So like their last one was they had one at 82, but they had 83 on the plaque. It's like, you bunch of morons, you can't even get that right.
Mm,
Oh, it's horrible.
wow.
Oh, the Commanders are so stupid.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy. If you do watch the Super Bowl, enjoy it.
Enjoy the commercials.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't even know if those would be good anymore, but
$7 million for 30 seconds.
you won't see a Gatton CNC ad on there.
No.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. And like I said, thanks again to everybody that's hit the little buy me a coffee donation thing. I appreciate that. And I'm saying it again because if anybody did one tonight, I won't know until I check my email or something. It comes in later. So um, anyway, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for helping me out tonight, Ryan. Appreciate you.
You're
And
welcome.
we will see y'all next week. Don't forget, we're going to be talking about design software. Gatton's watches. See y'all.